Happy Wednesday, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Genevieve Rejak with FSU Weather. Let's take our live look at Doak Campbell Stadium, where we have that sun setting because we passed those clocks right on back, but we do have some pink in the sky right now. Currently 57 degrees. We only have a little bit of winds coming from the north at 6 miles per hour. Overall, chilly in my humble opinion. And those chilly temperatures will continue throughout the Big Bend region, where here at Tallahassee we have 57. And really, that is going to be the coldest temperature we have on that map, matching down by the coast at Apalachicola. Really chilly conditions for the night. Luckily, we don't have any rain in the area. Any pop-ups you see on this map will be some ground clutter. No rain, though, luckily. But unfortunately, those cold conditions will persist throughout the week and really bringing us into temperatures that are anomalies in our low temperatures. And we'll also go into, on the show, what is lake effect snow and why that is bringing so much snow to the U.S. All that and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening and welcome into the November 16th edition of FSU Weather. We're about a week away from Thanksgiving, so thankful for that. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got lake effect snow, as we mentioned, bringing snow to a lot of the U.S. We've got below average temperatures across the majority of the U.S., which with the lake effect snow and cool weather throughout the state of Florida is really, I need my jacket. Like, it is cold across the majority of the U.S. right now. Not really seeing any warm spots. We will take a look at where there are a few warm spots in the U.S., and we're going to take a look throughout most of the country and where we're seeing some lake effect snow. Over to Nico for our first look at Florida.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. Being from Miami, I was pretty chilly today, wearing over 3 layers. Now that cold front has passed, you can see the cloud cover has been pretty overcast today, and the temperatures have been hovering right below 60 for most of the day. Right now it's 57, and we actually could take a peek at that sunset a little bit behind the clouds right now over Doak Campbell Stadium. As for our radar, not much is going on right now, as Genevieve was saying. Now that front has passed, not much in terms of precipitation, and anything that pops up on this radar is just ground clutter. And as for our current temperatures, it's pretty cool for most of the Big Bend region, hovering below in the lower 50s for most of the region. Donaldsonville in 52 and Thomasville in 52. A little bit warmer down near the coast in Apalachicola, it's 57. As for our temperature almanac, today our high was a little bit lower than our average, but our low was still a bit higher than our average. Definitely nothing like the record temperatures, 88, that's very high in 1921, and 22, we're definitely not seeing temperatures close to that today. But as for our current dew points, now that front has passed, we are going to be seeing drier conditions in Donaldsonville, dew point of 36. So we will be feeling those drier and therefore a little bit chillier conditions here in the Big Bend region. As for our future radar, here you can see that typical wind pattern that we see after a front passes. Got that winds and clouds from the north moving through. But other than just some cloud cover, we really won't be seeing too much in terms of precipitation. So it will stay pretty dry but very overcast. So as for tonight, it will be remaining cloudy, and temperatures will be at 44 degrees, so it'll be pretty chilly. If you guys are going out tonight, I would recommend a couple layers, a sweater or two. Actually, in Bainbridge and in Quincy, we might be seeing freezing temperatures. So if you guys leave a glass of water overnight, you might see it freeze tomorrow morning. But luckily here in Tallahassee, it will be a little bit warmer. Down near the coast in Carabel and St. Mark's, it will be at 38 degrees. Perry will be 36. But for most of the Big Bend region, it will be very, very cold for what we're used to. As for tomorrow, we will be seeing temperatures hovering around the lower 60s, upper 50s at 59. It will remain cloudy for most of the day, but temperatures will still be very cool. Again, about a layer or two. As for tomorrow's forecast, just like Tallahassee, most of the region is going to be experiencing these temperatures in the upper 50s. Tallahassee 58, Bainbridge 58, Quincy 58. Down near the coast, it might be a little bit warmer due to that moisture and sea breeze. 59 in Apalachicola and 58 in Carabel. But again, these are temperatures that we're not used to right now, and it's actually pretty cool. So if you guys are going to enjoy the day, I would recommend a couple sweaters. For the week ahead, temperatures will remain in the lower 60s and upper 50s, and with a low on Friday of 34. So how is it looking in Florida, Genevieve?
Now in Florida, I know something that we've been talking about a lot so far into the show has been the cold temperatures. Luckily for us, a little balance out for those cold temperatures is not too much rain here in Tallahassee, but that story does not persist for the rest of the state. Down the peninsula, we're going to get into it. That radar is looking a little bit spotty. But let's go back home here in Tallahassee. We have no rain going on. I think it's got to make up for those conditions. I know a lot of us in the studio have exams coming up, so the rain would just make it slightly more depressing sitting in a freezing cold library. But if you do want to head out to FSU Res, I know it's closed at the moment, but in case you want to drive around or maybe think about going tomorrow, it will be cold. So maybe have some other plans, but in case that you do, currently it is 52 degrees down there, and I thought it was a pretty nice view. I mean, the sun is setting, which is unfortunate, again, adding to a lower, not going to say depressing, but depressing tone, but it's still pretty nice conditions compared to what we are going to see further into winter. Now going down south, we're not seeing too much precipitation. Maybe if you are in Ocala, keep an umbrella on you. But down towards the Space Coast, where we had Artemis 1 launch, we do have some showers going off. So in case you are still there for that amazing, amazing experience, you might want to head on out, start driving out, take your plane, start going. Gainesville, boo, boo, boo. We have 60 degrees. I mean, I would say it's a nice sunset, but it really isn't. The sun has already set. It's not so nice. But is it ever really nice in Gainesville? Yeah, you know, you're asking an FSU student. It's never really good. But going further down south, we have some showers located just north of Okeechobee. So if you are in those counties, I will say to be careful. Miami, hometown, 80 degrees. You can always rely on Miami to be really nice and warm and humid, of course. And rainfall. Rainfall is something we always see in Miami as well. We're going to be seeing up to half an inch of rain in the coming days. And, you know, I'm personally freezing in this studio, and so is our data, because clearly on this graphic, it's not coming through. But you get the gist. You know, up here in Tallahassee, it's really, really chilly in the 50s. And then, like we saw in Miami, currently 80 degrees, it's a gradient of temperatures. Also, a gradient is how muggy and humid it is outside. So we have that dry line separating northern Florida from the rest of the peninsula, really giving us some moist conditions down there. And with those moist conditions come cooler temperatures up here, and then they just fade right on off to warmer conditions, and that will persist for tomorrow as we get up to 58 here in Tallahassee. But Ryan, where should we take a look at? What city are we thinking?
The city to keep our eye on is Buffalo, New York. They're seeing a lot of lake effect snow over the next couple of days. We're looking at up to 3 to 6 feet in some places, which could impact the Buffalo Bills game come Sunday. So what's going on right now in Buffalo? Well, it's snowing, 33 degrees. So just saying about freezing, we are seeing some mixing in many spots. Winds at about 5 miles per hour. Now, current temperatures throughout the area, we're seeing in the mid to upper 30s. So 37 right now in Buffalo. Up in Toronto, you're seeing about 33. Oswego, 40. And then down in Erie, 37. So Erie, you're starting to see some mixing. It is snowing right now in many spots, but with temperatures being above freezing, we are seeing some mixing in many spots. So some freezing rain coming down. Taking a look at radar, so you notice in green is where it's so coming down as rain. The white is, and pink is mixed, and then the white is where we're seeing the snowfall. So into Canada, off Lake Ontario, or Lake Erie, I should say, we're seeing some snow, as well as down near I-90, across Buffalo is where we're seeing some snow. But while this is bringing a lot of lake effect snow, it's not really going to be the big snowstorm for much of the area. That's going to come as we end of Saturday and Sunday. So current watches and warnings, we have lake effect snow warnings across and watches through much of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario region. Now, how does lake effect snow form? Well, lake effect snow is most common to form on the lee side of a big body of water such as the Great Lakes. So we've got Lake Erie here, we've got Lake Ontario here. So notice our watches and warnings are kind of set up on the lee side, which would be the eastern side in this case. So as wind is coming across the lake, it's picking up moisture from the lake and, going through the usual water cycle. As it gets to the lee side, that's where we start to see it precipitate. Now, with that, of course, we're going to see some heavy snow, up to 12 inches just today, and then we're going to start to see a lot of snow come Sunday. So Sunday, if you're going out for Browns versus Bills, we're looking at some very, very cold and snowy temperatures. I love watching a good snow game on TV. I don't know about going to a snow game. 31 degrees at Highmark Stadium with heavy snow. It'll be fun to see like the yard lines carved out. So taking a look at the forecast, this is through about the end of the day today. We're just seeing up to about 9 to 8 inches of snow in parts of the area. I know Governor Hochul declared a state of emergency and is telling people to avoid unnecessary travel. So 38 degrees for Thursday, but we're getting cooler and 90% chance of snow on Sunday. That's when we're going to see the most snow. Over to Nico for a look around
southeast. So luckily here in the southeast, we are not seeing any of that snow, as you can see from these live images. It's dark right now, but for the most part in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and in Blacksburg, Virginia, and here in Florida, it's pretty overcast now that that front has passed through, but definitely no snow in the forecast. We are going to see these cooler temperatures for most of the southeast. Our temperatures are not popping up right now, but we can expect temperatures in the mid to lower 50s here in the northern part of here in the southeast, and then down in Florida, things are a little bit warmer. In Miami, it's going to be in the 70s and 60s. Although farther up north here in Nashville and Little Rock, you can be seeing temperatures tonight probably into the lower 30s and even upper 20s. So our current dew points, much of the southeast is actually very, very dry right now. In Nashville, we've got dew points of 20 and 24, so you're going to be experiencing really, really dry conditions. Here in Florida, the front is actually situated, the boundary of the front is actually situated right here in the middle of the state, so it hasn't passed through yet, and that's why you see these muggier conditions in Tampa and in Miami. As for our temperature anomalies, even though it is colder right now, we do see that actually here in Florida and in much of the coastal Carolinas and Georgia region, we're still seeing temperatures a little bit warmer than what we are used to. The main cold spell right now is actually in the Great Plains, where they're seeing temperature anomalies of -5 to 20 from what they're normally seeing here in the Great Plains. Is actually very, very cold. And our radar right now, so this is actually the front, the boundary right here. This is just these showers are right now is where the front is at, bringing just some showers, scattered showers for most of South Florida. But other than that, most of the southeast is actually looking really clear, just some showers here near New Orleans. And for our future radar, as you see, that front is going to make its way out into the Atlantic, and there won't be much in terms of precipitation for the southeast, perhaps some scattered showers here by Texas and some precipitation here in Arkansas. As for our as for our rainfall forecast, only places where we'll see rain probably South Florida and in the Carolinas region. And for tonight's forecast, in Florida, it's going to be a little bit warmer in the upper 50s, lower 60s, but most of the southeast is going to be in that really cool temperatures of the 30s. And for tomorrow, we're going to be seeing still those cool temperatures hovering around the lower 50s and upper 40s, and down in South Florida, it'll be a little bit warmer. Now I'm going to pass it off to Genevieve and Ryan for a look at lake effect snow.
So yeah, those temperatures down in the south of Florida are getting warmer, but those conditions cannot be seen for really majority of the north, especially the Great Lakes. So we're going to be talking about what is lake effect snow.
Yeah, and we just kind of talked about during a couple of segments ago where we're seeing feet of lake effect snow coming to places like Buffalo, New York, Rochester, Western New York.
Yes. So now Ryan just said feet. We're not talking inches. We're talking feet of snow. So let's go over what really is lake effect snow. So it occurs when the cold air is above a warmer lake water. So talking about the lakes, the Great Lakes of Michigan. More importantly, we're talking about Lake Erie because it is so long that that cold air just drags out over that warmer water. And that allows for clouds to form, and then eventually that will fall as snow and bring not inches, but feet of snow.
Of snow, yeah. So in common areas that we see lake effect snow are places like Chicago, parts of Michigan, so like Grand Rapids, Detroit, and then of course off Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, so Western New York.
Pennsylvania
as well. So
let's show you that graphic so that you can visually see it, how we have that heat and moisture rising up from the lake, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, all the Great Lakes around Michigan, and really giving way for those clouds to form with heavy amounts of snow. And not only that, we also have winds being added to the mix. So when you're mixing that cold air above and that warm water, you're going to get lake effect snow, really bringing down feet of snow.
There is kind of a stop to lake effect snow, and that's when the lake does freeze over. But keep in mind, we're talking the Great Lakes. That's a lot of water that has to freeze. So we're going to have to get temperatures pretty cold in order for Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie to freeze over.
Absolutely, Ryan. So there you see a beautiful image, not so beautiful depending on what you think about snow, but really of a band of lake effect snow really coming to engulf that whole city, where it'll just pour down really inches and feet of snow to really make it not so fun for kids going to school or people commuting on their way to work, sweeping their steps to their houses. I mean, salt in the streets. It's really quite an ordeal that we luckily do not have to see in Florida.
Snow is beautiful to see on your phone from a beach in Florida. Not
course.
from, oh, it's about 5 feet of snow outside my house. Oh, I have to shovel out to get out the front door. That's when it gets kind of annoying. And I know many people every year have heart attacks trying to shovel snow before work because they're in such a rush. And it's kind of a labor-intensive thing to clear your driveway. Over to Nico for a look around the U.S.
Yeah, so here in the National Outlook, we're actually going to be talking a little bit about that lake effect snow that's affecting the Great Lakes region. But right now, again, our temperatures are not working. But you can see all this dark blue color. It's very, very cold for most of the country. Even down here in the greener colors, these are like upper 50, 60 degree temperatures, and these bluer colors are temperatures below freezing, 30s and 20s. For most of the country, we are under really, really cold conditions. And you can see here the dew points, not only is it cold, but it's also very dry, and these low dew points are adding to that effect and causing it to be feeling colder than it might actually feel. The only place where we're actually seeing some moisture here is down in Miami over in that green, but most of the country is very, very dry. And for our wind speeds, again, we do not have the readings, but here this is where that front just passed, and that's where you can see that trough bringing those strong winds. And here, as you can see, in Buffalo, New York, that's where you see that strong lake effect, and that's where there's some really strong winds. You can see winds up to 35 miles per hour, and on top of all that lake effect snow that's going to be dumped on the city. So here's the surface analysis. Here we got a low pressure system bringing lots of snow and precipitation onto the Rust Belt here in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, bringing lots of snow to the Chicago region. And here you can see that snow right here in the Buffalo region. And this is that front over in the Atlantic is that front that just passed here and brought us all those cool temperatures in the southeast. And as for the water vapor, there is not much in terms of, as I said, it was very, very dry for most of the country, as you can see from those low dew points. But there is some water vapor here coming from the Canada region into the Great Plains region. So it might bring some snow and some precipitation later on. But as for the Pacific Northwest, things are looking pretty dry. We can only see some cloud cover coming from the northern Canadian regions, but for the most part, it's looking very clear for the Pacific Northwest. And from that central Great Plains region, most of the clouds is coming from that northern Canada region and is bringing some precipitation, as you can see here, into the Rust Belt. Areas like Chicago will be seeing some snow, perhaps Cincinnati and Toronto might be seeing some snow as well. So it will be mostly overcast, but there won't be too much in terms of precipitation because that water vapor is just not there. And as for the Northeast, most of that snow here, as you can see right here in Buffalo, all that precipitation that's forming right over the Great Lakes and is basically dumping tons of snow onto the city of Buffalo. As Ryan was saying, we might even see 2 to 3 feet of snow throughout the weekend, and I read that we could be seeing up to 2 to 3 inches per hour in some rate, and so that's some insane rainfall rate, snowfall rates. So if you guys are in Buffalo, please be ready to stay indoors and be ready to shovel lots of snow because it's very, very intense right now. And over in Maine, we will be seeing some snow as well. As for the Gulf Coast, just some clouds as a result of that front passing. This is just the boundary, but there won't be much precipitation in terms of, and there much rainfall or precipitation. As for our 10-day outlook, Luckily, the Great Plains will actually be seeing an increase in temperature, so it won't stay too cold. But for the rest of the country, we will be seeing those below average temperatures. And our precipitation as well. The center of the country here in the Great Plains and in the Mountain West will be seeing drier conditions than what we're used to. But much of the southeast and the east coast will be seeing a little bit more rain than what we are used to. And for most of that rainfall is going to be hanging around here near the Great Lakes and down in South Florida. As for our overnight temperatures are going to be really cold for most of the night. Most of the country is going to be actually below freezing down in the Mountain West. And for tomorrow, it's going to be pretty fair down in the southeast with temperatures in the 50s and 40s. And then as you go north, it will definitely get much colder.
So cold. That's definitely something that is happening here in Tallahassee, though luckily not as cold as what we were just seeing across the national look. So let's give you a couple little events, little things that you can do here in Tallahassee at home to, liven up the week as we near close to finals and really try to close out the semester quite nicely. Sadly for us, the sun has gone down. Panama City, you are getting a little bit of what looks like the remnants of a sunset, but overall, our areas here in Tallahassee are looking pretty nice because we don't have that rain bogging us down. Instead, we have slightly chillier temperatures, but I know that a lot of people, especially our meteorologists that are from the north in this room, I know that they love these temperatures and really thrive off this kind of weather, unlike the real winter weather that we'll be getting into. I mean, it's still fall, actually. So our live look at Doak Campbell Stadium, we do have that sunset, but currently it is 57 degrees. We do have some clouds in the sky, and the wind will be coming out of the north at 6 miles per hour. So because it's not very windy, because there's no rain, we do have that green plain so that if you would like to fly out of Tallahassee International, if you are trying to get out of this amazing city before Thanksgiving break, you want to beat the crowd and really get those cheaper tickets, I mean, now is the time. 57 degrees here at the airport. We're going to be seeing those green plains all the way through our airports across the country, especially the southeast, as we are not getting too much rain or really any bad conditions. Now, bad conditions. I'm just kidding. It's really not too bad. 7 a.m. for your dog walk forecast. If you're thinking about taking the pup for a walk, it'll be just around 48 degrees, and it will just get warmer as we inch towards 11 a.m. where it will be 52 degrees. So put a jacket on, bundle up, as well as if your pets aren't used to this cold, cold weather, put a little jacket on them. It always makes them look a little bit more cute. And with those clouds that we have, we're seeing fair conditions. Sadly, tonight we don't have that green star giving us good conditions. We do have quite a bit of fog. But if you do want to stay tuned for Thursday night football, we'll be seeing the Titans play the Packers. It's going to be freezing in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Actually below freezing. We'll see 25 degrees, so really bundle up if you are thinking about heading on over there. 53 degrees on Saturday at our noon game where we play Louisiana, Raging Cajuns. I mean, really, our last home game before the really big Florida game, as well as an amazing team that we have here at FSU. Our wonderful Knowles, our women's soccer team, will be playing LSU, where it'll be 54, our ACC champs. I mean, we're really going to finish it out strong. I know we will. Sadly, these temperatures won't be finishing out too strong, but it'll be nice and sunny on Friday. So, Ryan, let's give one last look around the local here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, you keep talking about finals week coming up. I'm trying to put that off till after Thanksgiving. That's a post-Thanksgiving problem, not really a let's worry about it right now problem, right? 57 degrees is what we have to worry about right now. It's a little bit cooler throughout much of the area. Seeing temperatures that might get near freezing tonight. Our radar is pretty quiet throughout the area. Maybe just a couple pop-up showers and spots, but nothing really to talk about there. 57 right now in the city with kind of that urban heat island effect, getting up to about 52 in Quincy, 51 in Donaldsonville. We are getting a little bit warmer near the coast at 57 degrees. Warmer being, in retrospect, it being in the 50s outside. For our temperature almanac, we didn't really get too warm today. We saw clouds through most of the day. 64 degrees was our high temperature, well short of our record of 88 degrees, and about 8 degrees shy of our average temperature for this time of year. So definitely cool. Thankfully, nowhere near as cool as 22 degrees that we got back in 1940. Could you imagine just walking to class and it being 22 degrees? No, thank you. Dew points chapstick weather throughout all the area. Definitely bring your chapstick with you. I was talking to a friend yesterday that didn't have any chapstick that was going to CVS today. I have like chapstick in every flavor, I feel like, because it's so dry out that your lips just get chapped, and then it's so annoying to deal with. Future radar. So we'll see our north winds. That's really what's bringing in these cooler temperatures, as well as the cloud cover not letting the sunlight in. Our clouds will start to move out by Thursday mid-afternoon in the late day. We'll see some isolated clouds throughout the area, but we'll still see that north wind funneling in those cooler temperatures. So 44 degrees is what we're going to be looking at overnight tonight. In some spots, we might get near freezing, so especially in Georgia is where we'll see spots like Bainbridge, Thomasville, Valdosta. You're going to be nearing freezing or maybe even a little bit below. So definitely if you have plants that are a little sensitive to heat, maybe cover up those plants, bring some stuff inside that might be a little not used to the cooler temperatures. 34 degrees in Tallahassee, 38 degrees down in St. Mark's. So we are definitely cooling off. I think our kind of warm time of like our almost taste of summer is gone. So 59 degrees tomorrow in Tallahassee, cloudy throughout the day. So if you're going out on Landis, not really that great of a day. Again, just staying in the mid to upper 50s tomorrow, not really even breaking 60 degrees. So it's going to be cool across all of the Tallahassee region tomorrow. Over to Nico for closing desk.
Yeah, so basically these cold temperatures are what's the main deal right now. Being from Miami, I don't really experience those temperatures too often, so I'm actually pretty excited. I remember as a kid, I would always like to put a glass of water out if the temperatures seemed like they were ever going to go below freezing. And here in Tallahassee, we're going to be at that borderline at around 34, 33, but places a little bit farther north of us, a couple miles up the road in Bainbridge, it's going to be a little bit freezing. So maybe I'll leave a cup of water out and see if it'll freeze in the morning. It'll be a cool science experiment. And the rest of the country is actually looking at really, really cold temperatures as well. The folks up in Buffalo definitely have to hunker down because there's going to be so much snow that the football game this Sunday might actually be postponed or canceled due to this insane amount of snow that's coming off the Great Lakes at the moment. And as well as, but if you guys want to follow us on Twitter at www.twitter.com/FSU weather, you guys can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/FSU weather. As well as if you're watching us live on YouTube, please subscribe at www.youtube.com/FSU weather. And please follow us on Instagram at FSU weather and send us any cool pictures or anything of sort that seems pretty interesting. Now we're going to be passing it off to Genevieve with a look at with our final 7-day outlook.
Thanks, Nico. So yeah, let's head back home. Let's see that weather happening here in Tallahassee. 59 tomorrow. We're going to be seeing some relief to close out our week at 61 degrees on Friday. But luckily, that game, we won't be seeing too much rain. We will be seeing quite cloudy conditions and quite the really, in my opinion, unbearable, but it won't be too bad. Tuesday and Wednesday will be quite rainy, but that's been FSU Weather Wednesday edition. Have a great night.